This piece was composed around 1905, and it is a great example of how we can work with ebb and flow rubato. So let's take a look at the music. I've written in my marked fingerings that I prefer in red, and some good alternate fingerings occasionally as well. In green, I'm offering interpretive guidance, especially related to hairpins and phrasing, as well as some alternate suggestions from a Russian edition marked in pink. In the first four measures, we can see how Gretchaninov is using classical phrasing. In this case, 1 bar plus 1 bar plus 2, 1 plus 1 plus 2. It's an upbeat phrasing. In this case, it's in 12/8, which is a compound meter, which means we conduct it in 4. But in fact, on the 11th and 12th eighth notes, that 12/8 notes are taken at one time, which means we breathe or have a little lift sometimes after the 10th eighth note of the next bar. So in this case, 11, 12, 1. So we have before the next one answers there at the end of the fourth beat of the next bar. So it feels like 12/8 notes do go together in this way, but in fact we do have that way of lifting gently. And so we're going to talk about the sense of proportional rallentando and accelerando, or maybe I would call it first proportional accelerando and rallentando. It's an image that I like to think of is when we take an oar and get in a canoe. When we first put the canoe in the water, I should say the oar in the water, we take a stroke and that sends the boat forward with the movement of the water. And from there, the momentum takes us forward and we glide. And this is very different from the kind of rhythm that we learned when we were young, where 2/8 notes equals a quarter note and 3 triplets equal a quarter note. And if you think that way, that would be closer to the world of Jerry Lee Lewis. And if we played that way of this, you'd quickly see that it's very square if we went. Which doesn't seem to capture the spirit of this piece. It's kind of like what you hear sometimes on YouTube when a MIDI keyboard captures something. It's not a real human player playing it, and they don't adjust it with any kind of rubato settings. It's absolutely square that way. So this is the opposite of that. But does it mean that it's completely free and there's no responsibility whatsoever? Absolutely not. It's just that there are ways to get to that to have a really musical and satisfying result. So let's explore those a little bit further. What I mean is that we can actually use the subdivisions at the next level. In this case, we're working with eighth notes, so that means the next fastest subdivision is a 16th note. I really like to have all my students do this, and I do it as well, to sort of scat sing, or that is verbalize or audibilize the next subdivision. So that means whatever you do with your voice, it's okay. Don't worry about it if it doesn't sound good. Mine doesn't. So if you have ya da 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 dee 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 da 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 dee da 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 dee da 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 da, you sense that you might start, especially in a romantic style like this, maybe getting up to speed, or as that oar goes into the water, the boat gently surges forward, unless you're in some sort of race and you're really going fast. But for a piece like this, we probably can have one stroke for one measure. It's going to be a very easy kind of glide. So therefore, one way to practice we can combine that with is to play just the top voice alone. So, and listen, maybe play with your best fingers and go ya da 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 dee dee da 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 dee dee da 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 dee dee da 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 dee 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 da 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 dee dee da 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 dee dee da 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 da. And of course we don't want to get seasick, but we do want to have a sense that we are sort of swaying back and forth. Sometimes I like to see the image of a weeping willow tree with a gentle wind as well.